Hey guys, today I just want to talk about my plans for D4 launch tomorrow. I'll be streaming on YouTube, so you can check me out on launch, and I'll be playing this Twisting Blades Rogue build. And I didn't get access to the review copy. I really just started making content for D4, so I'm trying to actually avoid spoilers leading up to it. I'm not trying to plan out a full endgame build, although this is pretty endgame. This is kind of just a template of what I'm thinking and ideas that I have, and I'll go through it a little bit, and I'll have it in the link in the description as well. But basically, like this Paragon board I made last week, and now that the new damage buckets have been like updated and we know that it's not as you don't have to like spread your damage around as much. I have to go back and retool this because I know I probably took a lot of modifiers that had lower percentages in different damage buckets. So I'll have to go through this again. But for the most part, we're just going to be going Twisting Blade Poison. I'll run through like my ideas of what I'm going to level with. I played on the betas, just not the review copies, so I have a good idea of what I want to level with and what points I want to get first and stuff like that. Just note that I have some uniques here. Again, I don't know how hard or easy these are going to be to find. I think it was Kriparian brought up a really good point. If you have a weapon that you plan on actually using for damage, like my sword here, if you plan on actually using that for the full build, you're going to have to get like the best version of it. So assuming that it's like legendaries and rare items, there's the tiers of drops like ancestral items. If uniques play by that same role, this weapon you'll have to get as an ancestral drop, and you're going to have to get a good percentage on it. To be fair, with this specific one, I'm actually really just using this for the damage reduction to surrounding enemies. I think that might be one way to really help the rogue survive a bit more. And I don't think we have any like crazy good powers, so the only thing we're really losing is perfect stats on a weapon. But again, this is like something I'm just going to play with. And these boots are really interesting because they have chill around you. Well, technically a chill frost behind you, but you're dashing through things and you're going to be shadow stepping through things. So I'm pretty much banking on this always being up on bosses. And if this works, and I'm really mostly doing this for bosses, I'm going to use this power to combo with it, and chilled enemies poisoned by poison imbuement will further be chilled. And I'm hoping this combo just like breaks bosses really fast with Twisting. So let me just go over the build really quick on the max build, and you'll be able to look over this yourself. We are just taking the 2 points here. I'm not planning to use puncture, though you could use puncture instead of concealment, but I'll get to that later. We're maxing out Twisting Blades. We're getting our heals from crit. Might want to get more points in this and take out somewhere else, but for now I'm just taking 1 point in because we have more damage reduction later. Leveling, you're definitely going to want to take both movement abilities. Shadow Step is one of those abilities that you could take out. I prefer Dash. I'm sure some people will prefer Shadow Step. Either way, one movement ability might be better, and that'll allow you to take Shadow Clone later. But again, I don't have everything figured out. This is just generally what I'm going for. We're using Dark Shroud for defense. It's like 70% damage reduction, which is crazy. Along with some passive points for damage to vulnerable, which should always be up. And instead of using puncture, I'm using concealment. This is especially good for leveling. I used it all the time because you get 40 energy when you enter concealment. So like it basically acts as another generator for you. And between this and getting your inner sight procs, you should be like swimming in energy. But then you also get vulnerable for 6 seconds on the target that you hit with your first Twisting Blades. So that's where I'm getting most of my vulnerable, and you're able to keep this up pretty well when you're like single target bossing and you can hit a lot. It's probably more consistent to have vulnerable up through puncture. You do get a lot of cooldown resets with Twisting Blades for this, but mostly, except bosses, this 6 seconds is enough to pretty much blow anything up. At least from what I played. Again, I haven't played the end game. If things start taking a long time to kill, maybe I switch things around. But I'm hoping not. We're going Poison Imbuement. We're going Poison Imbuement for a couple reasons. One, it just is a lot of damage, like single target damage, so that's going to be really nice. We're going to increase that damage, and we're also going to get damage reduction from our passive tree. We're going crit for our imbuement skills. You could early go lucky hit. It's going to be really good, but I think crit comes out on top once you start sacking it. This is where we're kind of going lucky hit, more into lucky hit, because we hopefully should be getting a ton of energy here. This is another reason I'm not sure I'll keep concealment all the way through. And if I don't keep concealment, I'll probably get puncture, which gives us an extra 2 points to spend, probably 30. And if I'm really not feeling like I need the movement, I will take out Shadow Step and get Shadow Clone, and that's going to give us like potentially double damage, pretty much. And then we're going to take Victimize. Like I said, we're going to be able to focus on lucky hits with Twisting Blades. And that means if we have Vulnerable up, we're going to be able to do like a ton of AoE damage while we're killing the elite. Hopefully, with between Twisting Blades orbiting around you and this, I'm hoping you're just going to be able to clear packs even with just a Poison Imbuement. That's kind of like the overview. Like I said, if you want to look through the Paragon board, I'm going to keep it as is, but just know that I might change it. And then let me just go through quick. And these are like the base powers that you want. You're going to want to get Blade Dancer's Aspect and Skosglen. And you're going to want to put it on your ranged weapon. Preferably, I think, a crossbow, which gives vulnerability damage. It's going to be just Biss. And you won't have to... your crossbow is going to be basically be a stat stick. And you're going to just put this power on and never take it off. Unless you get like a ridiculous crossbow later. You won't have to worry about upgrading it. With the amulet, same kind of thing. I think this is the next best power that is going to just really affect our damage. So we'll just throw that on the amulet, and again, just never worry about replacing it. The resource powers that we have, don't think are that great for us. So, like, this is okay while leveling, while you're still using Puncture. If you stop using Puncture, you don't get any benefit from it. May not be dodging early that much. We're not going to be crowd controlling that much. So, we're really not going to be able to benefit from powers too much, really. This one is okay. Really, you're going to be relying on your abilities and procs to get your energy, and I wouldn't worry about your resource from your range at all. So those are good spots to put on powers. And then like, this is not something I plan on using all the time, but this is something that's going to be like amazing while leveling to get a constant shield pretty much every pack that you run into. So that's going to keep you really healthy. And on bosses, it's going to keep you really healthy as well. Every 30 seconds, pretty much, you're going to get a huge... And then I'll just run through it. Leveling, you're definitely going to want to go Puncture with Vulnerable, because huge damage increase. Again, I would go Twisting Blades with the cooldown. I would definitely get your movement skills, even before leveling up Twisting Blades. It's just really nice to have. Then I would start leveling up Twisting Blades. Here, you know, you could just go to max and get Concealment. And from here, you have a choice. If you're feeling like you don't need Puncture and you're not using it, you can take it off. Go Dark Shroud, which is going to give you some movement speed. Or you can keep Puncture and start leveling up some passives. I think where like really you can start getting like Sturdy and stuff. And then honestly, as soon as you unlock Poison Imbuement, I would just go straight down Poison Imbuement. And here you're going to want to get Lucky Hit to start. It's just, you're not really going to be critting that often to make use of this. And you're definitely going to get enough Lucky Hits to occasionally proc this. It's going to be just... From here, again, same choice. You're always deciding whether you want Puncture, Concealment, or any of these other abilities. I would probably go Dark Shroud here, and then start leveling up Poison Imbuement to full. Take out this. You could go Resets here. Enhanced Dash and Discipline Dash or Methodical Dash. I don't think these points are super necessary. They're kind of just like extra niceties to have. So I'd probably go into Siphoning Strix here. And then we really start getting into the energy. I think this is going to be more valuable. I don't know how... We're going to be spending a ton of energy. I don't know how valuable this is really going to be. So I'm not going to take it right away. And again, we're going to go Victimize. You could also go Close Quarters if you're using Puncture. Or you could just go Momentum. And since you're going to be getting a lot of backstabs and stuff like that, you should do pretty fine with this. Solid buff. But I think I'm going to go Victimize again to make Poison AoE. Keep in mind, and Rax suggested this too, could go, instead of Poison Imbued, could go Shadow, and you can go either, really. And then you just go full into energy consuming shadows, and that's going to give you a ton of energy while leveling and blowing up packs. It won't give you that much on the boss, though. So Shadow really suffers on the bosses, but Twisting Blades is still really good. So you might not suffer at all, and you might just have a better time AoEing down packs as your level. That's kind of where I'm at. Again, like I might pick up Shadow Clone to try out instead of using a second movement skill. I personally like Dash better. Just use it whenever you want instead of having a target. But yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at. And I'll have the link of this one in the description so that you have the full build. And then, oh yeah. Inner Sight is like broken for this. Not necessarily when you're like fighting through the campaign and there's like packs or a dungeon and there's tons of packs. You'll get a proc here or there. But this is really broken on bosses. I have a clip from one of the betas where I was doing the Stronghold in Corn Keep or whatever it is in the top, and I literally killed the boss before he summoned a single ad, when he's supposed to summon 3 ads every like quarter health. So yeah, I mean, it just is so good. Again, I'm going to be streaming on this channel on launch, so if you have any questions, if you want to follow along, please come by and ask them, or if you just want to chat, I'll be there. Last thing I just want to look at is, this is what the doc I put through, or I made to to really look at every single passive point. So for instance, like the first two on each board is where the glyph sockets are. If we go back to here, add a board. Every single one of these passive points is recorded and all the values are added up so that you can kind of get an idea of where your damage multipliers might be. For instance, like these are all color coded in the damage buckets too that we know about, and I've made it like fairly easy for myself to change the colors. So, but I'll update it when the actual game comes out if any wrong. And I'll have this in the link in the description too if you plan on like theory crafting and want to use this guide. I've also contacted Don the Crown. Hopefully we can just put this in his doc. It's a little big. Maybe we can copy and paste these together, but I actually have all the regular values. Like this is the actual value of the rare node. You get 15 imbue skill damage and 10 dex, and then the bonus is another 15 imbue skill damage if you meet the strength requirement. But like I think for most people, you're not really going to care about this, so I have these hidden by default. But like I made it so that we can copy and paste these one file pretty easily. Again, hopefully he wants to do that. Otherwise, I'll try to just maintain this doc myself through this link, and you guys will have it there. So come join me on launch tomorrow. Have a good launch, everyone. Thanks for watching. Subscribe and comment if there's anything else you want me to look at. Have a good one.